Okay, next we want to look at what attributes, what it means to say attributes of a term. So attributes, we take a term, say bird, and we say list the attributes. Everything that you can say is true about that term. So for bird, you could say, like, feathers, that it has feathers, that it has feet, that it has some birds, you could say, even if some birds, you could say that they're blue. Some birds are blue, or that they sing songs, or they sing. They could say that they're animals. You could even say that a bird is a thing. Okay, so you got these different attributes of the term. Now, the attributes can be divided into those that the term must have to be what it is, and those that it can have but not necessarily have. And this means, in the sense of the term, the ideal term. So you can say, well, a bird doesn't have to have feet and it would still be a bird. Well, yeah, that's true, but in the sense of bird that I'm using, it is kind of the ideal term. So we'll divide these into the essential attributes. It must be a thing to be a bird. It must, in this sense that I'm using it. It must be an animal. It must have feathers. It must have feet. It doesn't have to be blue, and maybe it doesn't have to sing. So this group is not essential, and this group is essential. Okay, so we have essential attributes and non-essential attributes. These kinds of non-essential attributes are called accidents. And these kinds of essential attributes, they can be divided, or you can take out from those the generic attributes. And generic attributes are those which this term belongs to as a group, as one in a group. So, for example, animals and thing, these are both generic attributes, because a bird is a kind of animal and a bird is a kind of thing. So this is a group that the term belongs to. Feathers is not a group that bird belongs to. Okay, or feet. A bird is not a kind of feet. So you can divide these and take out the essential, or the generic attributes. So that gives us basically three kinds of attributes. Generic attributes, non-generic but essential attributes, and the accidental attributes. Okay, the generic attributes are always essential. So if I just say an essential attribute, mostly it's the non-generic essential attribute is the meaning of that. Okay, those are the three different kinds of attributes of a term. Now, why does this matter? Well, first, this is how you render the definition of a term, is that you take the closest generic attribute of the term. And by close, I mean thing is not as close to bird as animal, because animal is actually, thing is a generic attribute of animals. So that's what I mean by closer, and what is meant by closer generic term, closer to the generic attribute, closer to the term. Animals is closer to bird than thing. So we take the closest generic attribute, animal, that we can think of. There may be a better one than that. and then we take an essential attribute of the term that distinguishes the term from within the genre. So it will be a non-generic essential attribute. Now, feet, there are other animals besides birds that have feet. So if we say animal with feet, which would be a kind of definition, that would not clearly define what we mean by bird. Wouldn't define the term. So feathers, there are pretty much, birds are the only animal with feathers, more or less. So that would be a pretty good definition if we used an essential attribute of feathers to define bird within the genre animal. So we say animal and feathered gives us the definite, and feathers gives the definition for this term. We could say a bird is an animal with feathers, and that's a pretty good definition.